Yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Maurice Brown Comedy Show on BogRadio.fm. Hanging out with my main man, hip hop artist Antoine A.S. Stewart and Aaron Too Tall Moore. What's up, guys? Welcome to the show.
What's going on, fellas?
I'm back.
Aaron, you are back. Too Tall, you are back. And it looks like the Commanders are back. So I
Yes,
know you
sir.
got a lot. I know you got a lot to say about that. We're going to talk about the Commanders quite a bit during this show, much to uh, Antoine A.S. Stewart's chagrin. But we gotta talk about real. You know, we gotta talk about real. And right now, that's exactly what the Washington Commanders look like. They look like they're the real deal, dude. But that being said, let's go over some of the scores from this week. I'm gonna start out with my Green Bay Packers getting embarrassed at Lambeau Field by the Detroit Lions. Aaron Too Tall, I'll let you take the floor on that one. What'd you think about this matchup at Lambeau?
I actually thought it was going to be closer than that. I was kind of surprised um, that the lines came out like that. But I mean, the lines are for real. And
Yeah,
I told my man Stu a couple weeks ago that San Fran better watch out for them lines. They the real deal this year, and I believe they got them on that bulletin board. They got them 49ers on that bulletin board if they see them again. But they playing ball, man, and I think I think the NFC is going through the lines. They are playing
yeah.
well. The team they the top NFL NFC team right now, in my opinion.
Stu, your thoughts on Packers Lions at Lambeau this past weekend?
It was definitely a game that I thought, Green Bay would do better on, but I thought they shouldn't have played Love, to be honest with you. We knew he was hurt and it was a chance he wasn't going to play. And I know, as a competitor, I know Love wanted to be out there, but I don't know how good he was as far as his percentage, his health wise. I thought that his backup did a great job when he was out before. That I would have rather seen them with a healthy backup guy who maybe they didn't game plan for as much to throw them off than to see Love in there. He all banged up, But hey, it's football. You got to do what you got to do. You showed up, you suited up, so you got to perform. Detroit did what they were supposed to do by not making it close, by every chance they got, they tried to stick it to them. And it was a great game that Detroit showed that they are the truth. Last year wasn't a fluke. Everybody knows the record that they have and how they've been performing. And I think, like Aaron was saying, Detroit is saying we are a threat to anybody in the NFC and NFL.
They are. They're the real deal. They showed that at Lambeau. I mean, you just got to give respect to the Lions and where they're going right now. They look really, really good. 24-14 was the final. Detroit over Green Bay at Lambeau. The Jets 21-13 over the Texans. And I got to tell you the honest truth, I've felt all year as much negativity as the Jets and Aaron Rodgers have been getting. They've been right there. The games that they've lost, they've been right there. They haven't gone out and just stuck the joint up and been embarrassed. What'd you think about the Jets over the Texans, over a bona fide playoff team in Houston, Aaron?
I believe in my pick'ems game, I believe I picked the Jets to win that game.
Okay.
Um, uh, I'm not when you got Aaron Rodgers in that defense. I mean, they just got Devontae Adams. They they two peas in the pod. They know each other. I think to me, I think they can make a little run to make the playoffs. I don't believe they're out of it right now. And I mean the Texans are a playoff team. So they beat a playoff team. And I think once they get everything on board with their offense and everything start to get smooth and clicking, I think they're gonna be a threat in the AFC. I mean, how much of a threat? I don't know, but I do believe they could push for a playoff spot.
I would agree with you on that. Stu, your thoughts on the Jets over the Texans?
Was actually surprised. The Jets were on a downward spiral. They pulled it together against a hot Texans team in in Houston. I thought the Houston was going to win, but the Jets defense showed up. The Jets offense did enough, put up 21 points. They got to win. This is, like we said it plenty of times, this is a week to week league. It's not about what you did last week, it's what you're going to do this week. You can build on what you did last week, but you can't take in any false confidence or think that a team played bad last week, so that means we're going to spank them, because that same team can spank you. So it's one of those things where you got to have a whole bunch of 1 week seasons and take every game one week at a time. And the Jets did that, and they were able to capitalize and get the dub. And they gotta brush that off their memory and move on to the following week.
Everybody was kind of coming off the turnbuckle with a flying elbow on Aaron Rodgers and writing the Jets off, but I'm telling you, they've been in a lot of these games and they beat a bona fide playoff team. I think they're going to have something to say come playoff time. Buffalo 30-27 over the Dolphins with Tua Tagovailoa coming back to the field and gave them a run there. Baltimore took out last week's defeat against Cleveland on Denver. They just took it out on Denver and just destroyed them. 41-10 was the final score. They reminded Sean Payton that Bo Nix is his quarterback. Anyway, the Chargers 27-10 over Cleveland. And as we said last week, Jameis Winston is the kind of guy that can come out there and give you 5 touchdowns. He can give you 5 picks. You don't ever want to get too excited about him. He's not the answer in Cleveland. The Panthers 23-22 over the Saints. Maybe you guys can give me some background on this Michael Thomas situation and the starting quarterback for the Saints, Derek Carr. Apparently, there's some bad blood between him and the receiver. What do you know about that one, Aaron?
Actually, I haven't heard anything about that. I'm not sure, but if that's, the Saints have been spiraling down since a couple weeks ago. So it seems like after the Dallas win, after the Dallas blowout, I think they was fine for a couple weeks, and then I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on in New Orleans, but if they do have a beef, it's because they're losing. Winning cures a lot, and if they could get a win this week, they probably hug and dap up and be all cool. But losing starts fires. So
I saw his post game press. I saw his post game press conference. He was talking about some bad words Michael Thomas had for him. He said, "We've never gotten along. I don't know what Mike's issue is with me. Yada yada yada." But you're right. Winning kind of cures all those ills. What do you know about that beef with my man Carr and Michael Thomas?
Briefly, I'm not well versed in it, but I did hear that Michael Thomas was accusing him of making a throw that he shouldn't have made and put another receiver in a bad situation. That receiver got a concussion.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, so he was like, he kind of was like, he did that on purpose or something. And like Aaron said, you're losing, you're frustrated. Michael Thomas has been around. He's a vet, and he's just pointing his frustrations. I think that's not the time or the place or the platform to do that. That's an internal type of thing. You shouldn't be talking to the media about that. And that's kind of, I believe, what was the icing on the cake, that the last straw that led to the firing of the head coach, and them just saying, well, man and ship, it's in their best corner to the Commanders, and they're just trying to basically go into rebuild mode. So that's the basis of that situation. I think it was a little childish. As men, y'all need to handle that. How you gonna talk about the man and then not answer the phone or when he's trying to reach out to you to solve whatever issues you have as a man? So, I don't like that. I feel like you need to be talking to him, not the media, about stuff like that.
So Fortney says Matt Fortney says that Derek Carr got hurt in week 2, and ever since things went south. Now I can say there's a lot of validity to that because they were flying high. I mean, he was doing the Michael Jackson in the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then, sure enough, I think it was week 2 or 3. He got knocked out. Saints have not been the same, and I totally agree with you. Don't come at Michael. I'm at Derek Carr like that. I mean, whatever your beef is, keep that stuff private, man. I mean, it is no call for it. Aaron, like you said, when you're losing, ugly stuff comes out, and it certainly was pretty bad. But I just like to say, I wanted to throw that out because I saw the bad blood there during that post conference with Derek Carr, and I'm like, okay, what's going on right now? The guys actually, Derek Carr's a good dude. So, Aaron, too tall. You're 100% right, dude. It's just what losing does. It breeds that kind of ugliness. But dude, when you lose to the Carolina Panthers, it's gonna bring out a lot of ugly. Everybody's then you find out. Well, anyway, that's just leave it. Let's see. The Bengals over the Raiders, 41-24, as it should have been. And then the Washington Commanders. Now, I was shocked at this game because they struggled with New York. I expected them to kind of beat the Giants, knuckle them up pretty good. But the Giants showed up. They came out to play, but nonetheless, 27-22, Commanders get the win. Aaron Tall-Moore, your thoughts on the big W in D.C.?
I mean, if you watch the whole game, like I watched the whole game, the way the game was going, I knew we was going to win it. It was one of them games where you knew we weren't going to lose the game.
Yeah.
The way the game was going. So
yeah.
And I mean, number 5, man, he's steady. He keeps everybody calm, and our defense is starting to come around, and I believe that's why we made that move to get Lattimore. I know we probably gonna get back to this, but making that move to get Lattimore is saying we making a run to win a division, and we can make a run in the playoffs because Lattimore is a shutdown corner. He a number 1 corner. He's going to travel with the number 1 receiver, and
Yeah.
that was our weakness. Now we got that. So with that in our offense, we got one of the top offenses in the league. I mean, for real, we could play with anybody. We saw that with the Ravens, even though they beat us, but we could play with them. So for real, making this move, the locker room and that organization believe that they are a contender.
Well, Marcus Lattimore, believe it or not, in the last 4 years, straight up in a one-on-one situation, has not allowed a touchdown to be thrown on him, which is sick. That is a sick statistic.
Yes.
But I mean, only issue with Lattimore, he gets hurt a lot. So you pray that he'll be able to stay on the field because that's a great pick.
Yes, and he's dealing with a hamstring now. So I'm hoping. I really don't want him to play this week. Let him fully heal from that hamstring. We really need him in next week when we play Philadelphia.
You will definitely need him against the Eagles. That's going to be a great matchup. Matter of fact, you guys have a great matchup coming up this week against the Steelers. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the show later on in the show. The Falcons 27-21 over Dallas. I mean, I think a few high school teams out there can get Dallas now. The Titans 20-17 in overtime over the Patriots. The Cardinals 29-9 over the Bears. It's funny, this game right here, I think that Hail Mary may have sank the Bears ship. I mean, the dumbest thing you could ever imagine someone doing on a football field, the Chicago Bears executed that last week. And so now you go to Arizona and you get stopped out by Kyler Murray. And you're just kind of looking at the Bears like, wait a minute, guys, have you guys quit on Eberflus? I don't know. I know the Bears are not that bad, but I think that Commander loss did something to them. We'll see if they can rebound. The Eagles, 28-23 over the Jags. Rams, 26-20 over Seattle. The Vikings, 21-13 over the Colts. And the Chiefs, in overtime, 30-24. Stu, I posed this question to you. Did Todd Bowles make a mistake by not going for the win?
No. I mean, watching that game, it was so many emotions going, and it was like, look, let's just go into OT and give our guys a chance. We know how dangerous Mahomes is. Mahomes is not playing his best, but we know he's elite. I felt like he was just like, look, we got there to tie the game up. Let's regroup. Let's try to figure out a game plan and try to, get the dub, but it didn't work out. I mean, if you went for it and you lost, they would have said, well, you should have went into overtime and not trying to win the game right there. So it was one of those things where it's a catch-22. Either way, if you don't make it, someone's going to have something to say. I felt at the moment watching the game live, I felt like it was the right call to do. I felt like they needed a chance to regroup. The way the momentum thing was happening, and the people were tired and everything. It was just like, look, let's just regroup and go into overtime. But hey, the Chiefs, man, they got something going on with them, where they're able to win these games. So my hat's off to the Chiefs.
So as you say that, we look at the NFL headlines. My first question would be to you guys: is 17-0 on the board for the Chiefs?
Most definitely on the board. I don't think that's going to happen. I think but it can. I would say it's on the board for sure, but I don't even think they want to. To be honest with you, I wouldn't want to go 17-0 into the playoffs, and then I want to get that loss out of my system. You know, every year it seems like the Chiefs got new players, new additions. You kind of want to, it's not like the same group every year. And you kind
Yeah.
of want to see how they handle a loss, who steps up. We know Pat Mahomes going to step up. They got some leaders on both sides of the ball, but so many new faces. Let's go through a loss. Let's go through some adversity together so that we can get through that. So when we hit the postseason, we can put all that behind us. So it's one of those things where it is definitely possible, but I don't think they're going to do that.
Aaron Too Tall Moore, 17-0 for the Chiefs.
Before I answer that question, going back to the Tampa Bay Chiefs
Yeah,
game,
yeah.
I'm going for it.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm going for it is because you got the momentum. Now, if you lose, you lose. But what I'm not going to do is play the 50-50 rule and have the chance, the 50-50 coin toss, and have the Chiefs get the ball and see what happens. So they undefeated, Super Bowl champs. You got them. You got them for a chance to win the game. I'm going for it. And as a coach, I'm doing it with no hesitation.
Okay.
To let my team know I believe in you, I trust you, and let's go for it. And it is what it is. If we don't get it, then I take the heat. But yeah, in that situation, I'm gonna try to knock them out. I can't allow Patrick Mahomes to get another shot.
Well,
Not
I
him.
get Todd Bowles in that situation. I know what he was thinking. It's like it's a gamble. I mean, let's be honest. Baker Mayfield has been balling this year, and I think it's almost time to stop calling this guy a bum and a bust. Because I've certainly been wanting to do that, but he just keeps making me believe he can go out there and get it done. And I think Bowles felt like, well, look, we got a coin toss. If Baker gets his hands on it, I think he can go down there. He had just completed an 11-play, 74-yard drive to get him in that spot. And so Todd was gambling. I get it. Let's not gamble with the Chiefs, okay? We'll gamble with Carolina. So, no, I got you on that. So do you think they can go undefeated, Aaron?
Will they go undefeated? No. Do they want to go undefeated? Yes. That's the goal. I mean, the goal is to win every game, ain't it? I
Right.
don't think people go into a game saying we got to lose. So the goal is to win every game, and I believe they do want it, and they taking it as one game at a time. And I mean, they got the people in the locker room to do that. They got so many veterans. I mean, they got young players too, but they Andy Reid, they got the coaching staff to say, let's take it one game at a time. And if we undefeated and we get to the playoffs, if we lose in the first round, what we did in the season doesn't look at the Patriots. They almost did it, but it doesn't matter if you don't win the last one. So
Right. That's 100% correct.
yeah,
There-
but
There's no question.
in this
So
Asian football, I don't think with in the way the game has changed, I don't think it would be another undefeated team.
yeah,
Um, I just
it's
I
asking a
don't see it.
lot.
Yeah.
And I don't know that they can do it or not. I think they're capable, certainly capable of doing it. But we got a lot of football left. Does the acquisition, as the NFL trading deadline has come and gone, the Detroit Lions picked up Zadarius Smith, who was with the Packers for a minute, went to the Vikings, then ended up in Cleveland. Quality player. And the Lions pick him up. He's not Aiden Hutchinson, but he ain't bad. Does this cement a trip to the Super Bowl for the Lions, Stu?
Nah, absolutely not.
Okay.
It makes them more, competitive. They had a huge loss. Those are some big shoes to fill. He's not going to fill those shoes, but he's going to give them a little more edge than they didn't have without him. So it's just another piece on the board for the Lions to make a push. One game at a time. You know how the postseason goes. Can't look too far ahead. Focus on the Super
Right.
Bowl. Got to do one opponent at a time. So I think it does give them a little bit more firepower, more ammunition in the loss of their great pass rusher. But I think as far as a absolute lock for the Super Bowl, absolutely not.
Aaron Too Tall, Zadarius Smith picking up that edge vacancy left by Aiden Hutchinson for the Lions. They have not had they've only had one sack since he left with that horrible injury in Dallas. And they're still winning. So now you kind of supplement that edge with Zadarius Smith. Does it make them a lock for the Super Bowl, Aaron?
Uh, tell you the truth, I don't think nobody's a lock for the Super Bowl.
Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But I mean, if I was a betting man, the only team I would bet on is the Chiefs.
Okay.
But and they still not a lock to make it. But I mean, does it improve their chances? Does it help them out? I would say yes, it does. But to me, without him, they still was a Super Bowl contender, in my
Okay.
opinion.
Okay.
So does it help? Yes, of course it helps. But I mean, to me, they was already a Super Bowl contender in my mind.
No doubt, no doubt, and they've proved that with the unfortunate exit of Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, they're still balling. It doesn't look like they've been affected very much by his absence. We'll go to the Packers. My team, Jordan Love, committing another blunder. I'm gonna try to calm down here. I don't want to go in too hard on him because it was really dumb what he did. But anyway, been through a lot of interceptions. Is he becoming a liability to the Packers? Stu.
Nah, I wouldn't call him a liability. He's a great player. He made a mistake. We know he wasn't 100%. I like I said earlier, I personally thought he should have set that game out. Let
Right.
the young guy, go out there and play. But I think that young guy, he was kind of balling, and deep down inside, you like, man, I don't want this guy to try to take this team away from me. So he pulled the RG3 moment, like, all right, I'm gonna go out there. And maybe I'm not 100%, but I think I was a little selfish if that's the case. But as a competitor, I get it. If you feel like you can give your team the best chance to win, you're going to do that. Just needs to lock it in. Focus on what he can control. Get back to the basics. They did decent in the run game. I'm looking at the stats. Josh Jacobs had 13 carries for 95 yards. They played balanced football. It just didn't happen their way. In these type of games against a team like that, it's more of a playoff atmosphere, and you cannot make crucial mistakes, which he did. You have to rise to the level of your competition and they weren't able to do that. You know, they seemed off. I don't know what it was. You know, it was raining. I don't know if that played a factor into it, but you know, both teams got to deal with that. No excuses. So the better team won that day. They just got to get back to the drawing board, watch the film, make the corrections they need to make, and you know, forget about that game. You know, you cannot let that type of stuff linger in your psyche. You got to have a short memory and get back to next week.
So Jordan Love throws the ball like Aaron Rodgers, and when the ball arrives, it's like Brett Favre. So, Aaron, is Jordan Love becoming a liability to Green Bay?
No, I don't think he a liability. I mean, he just had a a bad game. I mean, was he 100%? Maybe, maybe not. 80%. I mean, at 75, 80% Jordan Love. Is that better than the backup? I mean, obviously, I mean, if he was feeling some comfort, they had to take him through a pregame workout to see if he good to go. And if he say he good to go, I mean, he's your starter. You got to ride with him. So
Well, yeah.
I'm not upset he played, but he just had a bad. I mean, to tell you the truth, the Lions are. I mean, they're a better team. I mean, I thought the Packers was going to play him a little bit tougher, but the Lions are a better team. I mean, he didn't play defense, so I mean, he threw some picks, but I mean, that's what the defense for to stop him. So, but I mean, was the injury a factor? I mean, maybe, maybe not, but we'll see. I do believe he's gonna bounce back though. I don't think he gonna come out and be an interception machine or anything like that. I think he's the quarterback for he's gonna be a quarterback for a long time.
Well,
Can I add one thing?
Yeah.
Just looking at the stats, Mo and Aaron, it's like I think the game was a lot closer than what the score. It's only 10 points. It's 10 points. But looking at the stats, Jared Goff only threw for 145 yards. He didn't even break 200. 1 TD, 0 interceptions. The running game was decent, you know, running game by committee. David Montgomery and Gibbs, you know, they did a decent job, but it was nothing too special. It's just that Detroit made the plays when they were there to be made and capitalized on it, and the Packers didn't. That's the basics of the game. It was not like you know, the Packers defense came in there and let Goff run up and down the field and throw for 300-400 yards and they just got out. It wasn't that. It was a lot closer than what the score led on. But it was one of those things. Jordan Love threw for 273 yards, almost 300-yard a game. You know, he had that one pick, which was in those type of games, you gotta limit those mistakes. Those turnovers are crucial, and you may not get a whole bunch of opportunities. So I think it was a little bit closer than what we led to believe by looking at the score. When you really start to dig into the numbers and look at the game, and if you watch the game, you know, you can see like they were right there. It's just that they didn't make the plays, and then Detroit were able to make the plays.
Well, to go back to what Aaron Moore said a moment or two ago about the Lions being the better team, they were the better team. They played a clean game. Green Bay had 6 drops. They had 10 penalties. And, of course, the blunderous pick thrown at a crucial part of the ball game, which really blew the floodgates open for the Lions. But that ain't Detroit's fault. They're a better team. Getting back to what Aaron more accurately stated, I can't blame it all on Jordan Love. There are other elements of that game that were flawed on Green Bay's part and not Detroit, better ball club. Let's look at the road to the Super Bowl as we're talking about Detroit. And I think, Aaron, you mentioned this a little bit earlier as well. Would you agree the road to the Super Bowl, Stu, goes through Detroit?
If things keep heading down the path they headed down now, then yeah. I mean, either Detroit or Washington, unless something crazy happens where they start to lose games and another team gets hot. Washington only has 2 losses. Detroit has 1. So if they can keep up what they're doing now, then the road will go to Detroit. Those two teams don't play each other, so they don't have a tie-breaking type of moment. So yeah, I would say it's fair to say that as of now, things can change. The road can go through Washington easily. The way that team is playing, especially if they get that win against Pittsburgh, and then they got a tough game against Philly coming up. So I think either one of those two teams, I think the road may go through. But it's fair to say that though.
And as AS says that, Too Tall, being a Washington Commander fan, would you agree that the Super Bowl will go through Detroit?
I would say yes. It's gonna go through Detroit. They've been there before. Um, will we have a chance to end the run? I believe yes, but I believe, in my opinion, the NFC Championship game will be in Detroit, in Detroit, Michigan. And I mean, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Um, I mean, San Fran could upset Detroit. I mean, it's just so many teams. Like this, you can't just look at the record and be like, "Oh, this team is better than this team." I mean, but San Fran 500 right now, I believe.
They're
Yeah.
4-4. They're 500. Yes, sir.
500.
And we play them December 30th.
Yeah, see, so San Fran's still in the mix as well. So, in my opinion, does it go through Detroit? Yes, because San Fran right now is 4-4. I mean, I don't see Detroit slipping that much. I mean, but I even if the NFC if San Fran went to Detroit, I mean, if San Francisco went to Detroit, I wouldn't be surprised if San Fran won that game. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but from what I'm seeing right now, I believe the NFC Championship game will be in Detroit.
Well, I think without question, the way the Lions are rolling right now,
Mhm.
it looks to me it's going to go through Detroit. But that doesn't mean that the 49ers can't get them. And it doesn't mean that the Commanders can't get them. And it doesn't even mean that the road to the Super Bowl doesn't go through Washington, because it very well may. If you look at the way the Commanders are structured right now, they actually have a solid organization. With the departure of that bozo Snyder, they are actually solid in DC. Like they know how to bring players along, i.e., Jaden Daniels. I mean, the way they prepared him for this year goes to
Mhm.
the coaching staff. And from what I understand, I mean, they gave him one of those virtual glasses to kind of look at coverages and learn how to react to them and so forth and so on, and just kind of get accustomed to what he's going to see in a live game situation. And now other organizations are copying what Washington did to get him prepared. They've got a good head coach, they've got a good defense, and they just picked up Lattimore. They're not playing any games. You just can't count the Commanders out. They're starting to look like a team that can actually beat Detroit as well as the 49ers. So, but right now, I don't want to take anything away from Detroit. I mean, they are absolutely balling. Stu, were you going to add something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, more realistically, Detroit has the harder schedule moving forward. They got it in November. They go through a gauntlet of tough games back to back. Their next game, of course, against the Texans in Texas, which is no walk in the park. They get a few easy ones in Jaguars and the Colts, and then it's like Bears, Packers again, then the Bills, then the Bears, then the 49ers, and the Vikings. Things can happen, they got to keep it going. That's the one thing when you're the top dog, they're used to being the underdog. That was the story last year. And when you become that top dog, you're going to get everyone's best shot. And that's how, like with the Ravens and the Browns, you're like anybody can beat you, because now they looking at you as if we beat them, that make me feel like I'm something. So I'm curious to see if they are a great team, no doubt. I'm curious to see if they're able to keep that up as the weather gets colder and they go through this gauntlet being the big dog. Like, you're no longer the underdog. People not sleeping on you anymore. You are the big dog right now in the NFC, and I'm curious to see how they do.
I want to switch over to the AFC and take a look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're talking about the NFL trading deadline. And the Steelers picked up a couple of nice pieces in getting Preston Smith from Green Bay, who's a very good edge rusher. I'm surprised that we gave him up, but the Steelers picked him up. And Mike Williams, receiver for the Jets, was picked up by Pittsburgh. Does this make them a bigger threat to the Chiefs than the Ravens? I'll pose this one to you, Aaron.
I know I got familiarity with Preston Smith. I mean, Preston Smith is a decent player. Of course, we drafted him. He is a decent player. And Mike Williams is a top receiver coming out. Really hasn't lived up to his expectations.
Right.
I mean, will he do it in Pittsburgh? I don't think so. I think he's going to do the same thing he did with the Jets. I think they needed another receiver though, and they went and got him. Not saying he can't make plays; he can make plays, but I don't think he's going to be a game changer. So are they a? Does this make them like it says make them a threat? I don't think it makes them a threat. I think they the same Steelers that added two good players, and I don't think it pushed them over the edge to say, oh, now they contend for the to the AFC Championship game. I don't think that. I think even without them, they still would have had a chance to have them run in the playoffs. But I just think they picked up good two pieces that they needed, and but I don't see them to be a changer to push them to beat the Chiefs and Ravens. Nah.
Okay, so Stu, I'm going to pose the question to you because Preston Smith, somewhat of I think he's the type of guy that can help change a game. He wasn't making a lot of noise in Green Bay. I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, he wasn't, and that's one of the reasons we gave him away. I just like Preston, but he wasn't really doing that much. Mike Williams, to Aaron's point, was kind of becoming, a guy that Aaron Rodgers just became very disappointed with. But the Steelers picked these guys up. What do you think about this trade?
Nah, they were decent picks, not any splash plays. I don't think there were too many splash picks except for Washington Commanders. That was a splash pick. That was huge.
Yeah.
They're a good solid team. Next man up, every little bit helps. They're role players. You can plug and put them in a situation. Maybe them being on a better coach team in a better situation will let them thrive. We've seen it many a times to where players get a change of scenery and now they just all of a sudden balling out and they feel better, better coach team, better environment. It's going to be one of those things to where we have to wait and see just how they pan out. It could be like nothing and it could be something. But either way, the Steelers have a great team. And I think it's one of those things was to tell of two different quarterbacks to where the Justin Fields team, they were winning, nothing special. Now with Russ, he's been in the kitchen cooking a little bit. So he's been putting up more points and makes them tough. But I'm really curious to see how they stack up against a hot Commanders team. That's really going to tell me a lot about the Steelers. And also the Commanders get to continue to show why they are not a fluke and why, everything about them is real, which we already know that is the case. So I'm ready to see a great matchup between the two. And I think, as I stated earlier, that it just depends. We have to wait and see really how they pan out and see how big of a pick that these two guys were.
I was going to bring up the Dallas Cowboys, but why? And we've kind of covered, the Commanders quite a bit, and we know that they're on the uptick. So we're going to look at the NFC or the NFL Power Five, and I have them listed as follows: Detroit number 1, followed by the Washington Commanders, number 2 in the
Mm,
NFC, Philly, Minnesota, and Atlanta. Stu, your thoughts on this list?
I like it. I like it. I think that that's a pretty good list. I'm curious to see what happens as we move on into November and December. And, a lot of teams are getting healthier and stuff like that. But I think as of right now, I think that's fair to say that those are our current top five.
Okay, Too Tall, what you think, brother?
I agree with it, and one of the, I mean, of course, we've been playing outstanding, but the Falcons are starting to catch fire too a little bit, and we got them in a couple weeks, so we're gonna see, Kirk Cousins and his high-powered arm, he could put some points up on you. So I like this group. Of course, we got the Eagles next week as well. So I like this five.
I
You
think
like
the
that?
Commanders are about to run into a proving ground stretch because you got to deal with the Steelers, and I don't know if that's going to be in DC or Pittsburgh. I don't know.
It's DC.
It's going to be in DC, so that helps. That's going to be a very good matchup, though. And then the following week, you got the Eagles. Is that in Philly or DC?
It's in Philly.
Okay. And then you mentioned the Falcons up on the schedule. Kirk Cousins and the
Mm-mm,
Falcons are not playing.
mm-mm.
Okay, so but you've got some games coming up here that's going to say a lot about what happens going forward with Washington. But I'm going to switch over to the AFC Power Five. I've got Kansas City, no surprise there, followed by Buffalo, a very strong 7-2. Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and then I added the LA Chargers to the big boy table in the AFC at number 5. Stu, your thoughts on this list?
Yeah, I think you spot on. I may play with, how they from 1 to 5, but I think those are the teams right now, and to be honest, those are the teams I expected to see from the
Okay.
beginning. Those were the hitters, and they've stepped up to the plate. Um, I think the Ravens could be number 1 or number 2 as far as their potential. But I think the way you have them lined up right now is what they've done thus far. So no complaints, man. Those are the top 5 in the AFC.
Aaron Too Tall Moore, what do you think about this AFC Power Five?
I agree. I agree with it. I don't see no discrepancies. Uh, the Chargers. I mean, Chargers a little up and down, but I don't see nobody that can replace them right now.
Yeah,
Um, and I like that order too. I like the order you have them in. So yeah, I agree with that top five.
I have the Texans there, and I know that the Texans are probably a game better than the Chargers. I think they're 6-3. The Chargers are 5-3, but I don't like the way Houston's playing right now.
Mm,
They've got too many injuries. Nico Collins is out. I think Diggs is out for the season. Their offensive line is horrible. So CJ's not even getting a chance to set up back there. And somehow they've made it to 6-3, but it's not a strong 6-3. So I gave it to the Chargers, who are kind of been on the uptick of late, and they're starting to kind of play pretty solid football, and maybe Harbaugh's game plan is starting to really sink in with the team as we expected it to. And you got to love the fact that the team came to Justin Herbert's defense. It's like, yo, man, you're not going to beat up on my quarterback. All right. That ain't happening out here today. That forges relationships on a team. And so I gave them the heads up and said, let's see what the Chargers are doing. I think Houston is they're not looking really solid right now, so I gave it to the Chargers. Now for the NFL, Kansas City still the best team in the league at 8-0, but the Lions are right there. And I don't care if they played it at the Washington Monument, but Detroit could win that game. So if they matched up, but they're right there. And then you got Buffalo again, a strong 7-2. Picking up Amari Cooper might have been the move they needed to actually give them a decent shot. Josh Allen has already shown that he can hang with Patrick Mahomes. There's only one problem. He ain't beat him yet. Anyway, then we got Pittsburgh. I got Pittsburgh at number 4 and the Commanders at the league big boy table. Stu, what do you think about that list?
I think that's a great list. I will move the Commanders in front of the Steelers. I know they play each other this week,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
is they're going to be able to separate that, see who's the better team or
Right.
that week. But yeah, that's the only thing I would change. I like the Chiefs at number 1. I like the Lions. I think the Ravens are creeping on that top 5 NFL list. The Bills, they've been playing good football each week, so I can't take nothing away from them. The Steelers have improved drastically with Russ, putting up more points, but I definitely will put the Commanders in front of the Steelers, but they'll get to solve that this weekend.
Too Tall, what do you think about this list?
You know, on NFL.com, they got your Packers in the top 5.
That's ridiculous. There is no way Green Bay belongs. I looked at a couple of Power 5 lists that had Green Bay.
But they got them at 6. Let me take that back. They got them at 6.
They don't have any business top 5. I have a hard time with them in the top 10. Like, wait a minute, stop. Did you see what I saw? Anyway, so
they got the Packers. They don't even have the Steelers in there.
Well, I don't know why Green Bay is getting that. I mean, I just pardoning the pun, love, but they got some very favorable rankings in some other publications. I noticed that, and I was very shocked that they were getting those kind of rankings. So yeah, but they don't belong in this Power 5.
I like this group, and it's been a long time, but I'm glad to see my team in this power ranking. It's because of our organization and Dan Quinn, man.
Absolutely.
Give him some tissue, Mo.
I will say this. We earned this top 5 because beginning, I think we was playing I forgot, I think it was Chicago.
Okay.
And was it Chicago or maybe our first home game, John? And it was like, Dan Quinn got asked a question saying, teams have come in here and taken over our stadium.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about that? And Dan Quinn said something serious. He said, we gotta earn the right for our fans to come and support us. Yeah. And I like that answer. And I never heard that answer from a coach in a long time we had. He said we had to earn the right. And we have to play hard and we have to earn the right. It's not the fans' fault they're not coming, it's our fault.
Well, and, it's like the DC. Yeah, my bad. Go ahead.
And I like that answer, and I think that's the approach that he takes. They take game in and game out. And
it's like those great philosophers, the Beastie Boys said, "You got to fight for the right to party," and they're doing it. They're doing their thing. I mean, in DC, dude. What's up, Stu? Everything okay?
I said, what's sad is that that was a great moment for Aaron. We're gonna give him a pat on the back later. But what's sad is when you think about it, the Cowboys had a Dan Quinn, and you put him as a coordinator. You got this level of caliber of coach in your organization, and you don't let him be great. You handicap him. You try to dictate instead of just letting him do his thing.
Yeah.
And this guy goes to your enemy in the Commanders, and he's allowed to be great and see what he produces, see the fruit that comes from that. And that just goes to show you that the Jones family needs to step down from controlling the team, sign the checks, have somebody to make the decisions, but take a step back, because obviously you're not successful at doing it anymore.
No, well, I said for the longest time the Cowboys have the same or had no, they do have the same problem the Commanders used to have in horrible ownership.
Yeah.
Just horrible ownership, and you can't fire the owner. So, things, karma, as they say, caught up to Dan Snyder, got him up out of there. Now you're seeing the fruits of that move and replacement. They're going that organization is going in the right direction. And matter of fact, they're almost becoming a blueprint for other franchises based on the way that they handled their business over there. Very, very solid. So you gotta love what and it's been 25 years since what were the Washington Redskins were a major player in making a run for the Super Bowl. 25 years. I
Wow.
mean, they've had some nice little moments, but I mean, this one right here feels like it's legit with the trading line pickup of Marcus Lattimore. Okay,
Yeah.
they look like a real Super Bowl contender. We're going to look at some matchups that's coming up this week, starting with Thursday Night Football, which is a really good one. Cincinnati and Baltimore in Baltimore, 8:15 on Prime Video. Stu, what do you think about this matchup?
I think the Ravens are going to do what they need to do, but Cincinnati's not going to make it easy for them. Whenever these two teams play, regardless of the schedules and the records, they always play each other tough. I think Bengals always fare up good against the Ravens. If the Ravens can stick to what they do best, and that's running that football and not getting cute with Lamar and giving the ball to Henry 12 times and stuff. Give it to Henry 20 plus, and I think the Ravens take care of business at home.
Too Tall, what do you think about this matchup tomorrow night on Prime Video? Cincinnati and Baltimore.
For some reason, the Ravens had a great win last week, blew a team out.
Yeah.
These are the games they be losing for some reason. I don't have no reason why. It'd be something happen where Lamar drop the ball and the other team pick it up and go kick a field goal to win the game. And but I think the Ravens got too much talent. I'm still gonna pick the Ravens to win. Like Stu said, if they give the ball to Hammer back there 20 plus times, the Ravens gonna win.
Yeah, I think the Ravens are going to win. It's going to be in Baltimore. The Cincinnati Bengals can't stop a nosebleed, and I mean it just is what it is. I mean the Ravens are going to light them up. On the other side of the ledger, though, Baltimore, their defense isn't great. Like Burrow can light them up too. Is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? He can light them up as well. So it could prove to be just a good matchup, a very entertaining game, but not one that Cincinnati can win. I don't think the Bengals can beat them, but they can make it scary enough for Baltimore, who has a tendency to, if I may say, choke a little bit from time to time, and they could get them. So I think that's going to be an interesting matchup. But then in Germany on Sunday, the NFL goes to Munich, and the Giants and Panthers go at 9:30 a.m. on NFL Network. Now, there's no reason to comment on this game. I just thought I'd put it down. And so,
why they do that to Germany, man? What did Germany do to deserve this?
People over there. I hope they bring their schnitzel and their schnauzer. So let's go to the Sunday games at 1:00, and we got Denver and Kansas City. Now, at one point, about 2-3 weeks ago, I said, this might be a good matchup. But after what Baltimore did to Denver, I kind of think that the same thing's going to happen in Kansas City on Sunday. What do you think about Denver and Kansas City, Stu?
It's kind of a trap game. I think, of course, the Chiefs would win. The Broncos, they play good defense. They're not playing against the Ravens with like Aaron said, got the hammer back there.
Yeah.
This guy is just a freak of nature. It's going to be more of a defensive game because that's how the Chiefs are winning most of their games right now. Their defense is stepping up. So, but I think the Chiefs will get it done in the end, even if it comes down to the last play. I think they'll figure out a way to get it done. So I'm picking the Chiefs.
So we got the Steelers and Commanders at 1 o'clock in Washington, D.C. What's your call on this game here, Tutal?
I'm going to be concerned if Brian Robinson doesn't play.
Okay.
Because he's dealing with a leg injury, and he was a game time decision against the Giants, and they held him out. And I think he's going to be a game time decision against the Steelers.
Okay.
If B-Rob don't play, I think the Steelers have a great chance of shutting down our running game, even though we got Eckler, but Eckler's not that pounder. He can't lean on you like Robinson.
No, exactly.
So if he don't play, it may be too much. Not saying too much pressure on Jaden, but he may have to do too much, and we can't be one dimensional against the Steelers.
Yeah,
I think we gotta kind of pound that rock, use thunder and lightning, and get Jaden out the pocket. I think we do that, but I think our defense is gonna be fine. I don't think Russ and them gonna come out and put 34 points on the board. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be kind of low scoring game. But if B-Rob don't play, I think it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for us to win this one. But I'm picking us to win. But I hope if B-Rob plays, I think our chances of winning goes up tremendously.
I actually think this is the game of the week. Pittsburgh in DC taking on the Commanders. Hard one to call. Excuse me. But I just love the way that Jaden Daniels is playing. And I think he's getting stronger as the weeks go by, because I think those ribs that he busted against Carolina have taken a while to heal. So I think he's getting better and becoming that guy that we saw 3-4 weeks ago. I think you watch in the last few weeks, he's still healing. So I think he's going to be healthier in this matchup. This is going to be a good one, and I'm banking on the Commanders to come away with the W in this one. But it could go either way. 1 o'clock, also, we have Minnesota taking on the Jags, the Falcons taking on the Saints, and then it's San Francisco, your boy Stu, taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to tell you right now, flat out, the Bucs are gamers. They're not an automatic W. You go as a big boy into Tampa Bay, or they come see you, that's an automatic W about a year and a half ago. That ain't the case now. They are a legitimate playoff team, and they're going to be at home. What are your thoughts on this matchup, Stu? These are your boys, the 49ers and the Bucs.
Yeah, man. Unfortunately, the Bucs are getting slapped up.
Oh, yes, sir.
It is what it is. I'm talking that talk.
Got it.
McCaffrey's back. He could have played last week, but they wanted to hold him out after the bye. So we've had a bye, and we're fresh. We're rejuvenated. McCaffrey's coming back. Dre Greenlaw is supposed to be coming back, who is the tandem with Fred Warner. Third and Juwan is coming back. This is our coming back game, to where a lot of our big dogs are coming back, and Bosa loves to sack that quarterback. So they got a rivalry going on from college with Ohio State and Oklahoma. So it's gonna be a great game. Like you said, we can't take anything away from Baker Mayfield. He's balling out. He doesn't have his two big weapons, Evans and his other slot receiver, Godwin. So that's going to be interesting to see how they piece it together. But I think the 49ers are going to beat the Bucs down. I don't think it's going to be close. I think this is our coming out party. That we are back.
Okay. Tutal, what do you think about this one? 49ers and Bucs in Tampa Bay, Sunday, 1 p.m.
Still got some hair on his chest. He ready. I'm gonna say this. I think I think the 49ers got to get on Mayfield Baker early. They got to
Okay.
get on Baker early. They can't allow Baker to get comfortable, and it can't be a shootout. Because I think if it's a shootout, that puts a 49. I think the 49ers are best when they balanced. When they could run, play action. I think when they get in that that balance mode right there,
Yeah.
when they running the ball and then they play action with Purdy, and then they hit, Debo, and they start spreading the ball around, it's hard. It's hard to guard everybody. It's like, okay, who we check, like who we watch out for.
Right.
But if it's a shootout, I think the advantage goes to the Bucks. I think they got to get on Baker early, get him uncomfortable. Because you could get Baker you could get him rattled. He could throw a couple picks. Yeah, so but I think it's going to be a close game, but I think the 49ers are going to I think the 49ers are going to pull it out.
Well, I would agree with that. I mean, especially with them getting all their pieces back. I mean, when the 49ers are the 49ers, they're awfully hard to beat. I do think that, getting Trent Williams back on the field, that cannabis blazing he's been doing, it's been working out. And so him being on the field, and the Bucks may not be ready for this one at all. Blowout, I don't know about that, but I definitely feel like the 49ers go win this ball game. Buffalo's going to go to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. They're trying to figure things out over there in Indy. The Patriots take on the Chicago Bears. Bears lose this one. Goodbye to Mr. Eberflus. You're done, dude. You're out of here. So I expect the Patriots to go down at Soldier Field. Sunday, 4:05, the Titans and Chargers hook up. Should be an easy one for Harbaugh and the boys from LA. 4:25. Now, this was a great matchup, Philadelphia and Dallas. I will say this, because it's an NFC East matchup, the Cowboys may show up for this one and make a ball game out of it. Something's telling me they're going to be blown out of AT&T. However, your thoughts on this matchup between the Eagles and Cowboys, Stu?
Well, they say Mike McCarthy, the chicken nugget, gets fired. It's like, no, I think that Philly is going to beat down the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I think the Cowboys ship is sinking, and I think they're drowning. They're looking for help. I think it's starting to become a mental thing, and the cameras are zooming in on Dak Prescott and reading his lips, and he's saying we suck, and it's just a bad space to be in, and you don't have the type of coach and the type of ownership and stuff around you to really motivate you and galvanize the team. McCarthy is just I don't know what he's going to say at this point. And he doesn't have the support from the ownership.
I have the words for you. I have
What's
the
that?
words for you. I have the words. Goodbye. Anyway, go keep going. My bad, Stu. Keep going.
Yeah, so I think Philly's going to beat Dallas down. I don't think it's really going to be that competitive. I know the Cowboys may come out there a drive or two and look like the Cowboys a little bit, but I think in the long run, Saquon's playing out of his mind right now. Philly is getting hot right now, and I think they're going to beat the Cowboys down.
No one's really talking about Philly as a Super Bowl contender. They're quietly creeping back into that conversation. Too Tall, what do you think about this matchup? Philly and Dallas on Sunday at 4:25.
The word is that Dak might not play.
Oh, that means they have a shot.
he made
That's
Dak.
the rush.
They say his hamstring might be partially torn.
Mm.
So if that's the case, he may be on IR. And if that's the case, he may be done for the season.
That's what it's sounding like, Too Tall. It's sounding like he may be gone for the year. And that would bring, I would think, an official end to their year. I mean, all kidding aside, I mean, Dak Prescott's one of the few things they have on that team that's
Yeah.
actually someone that they can kind of depend on, even though they've had a terrible, terrible, terrible year. And you hate hearing that about a guy that's been resilient for the most part throughout his career. I mean, Dak shows up every Sunday to play ball, so you really hate hearing that. 425, also the Jets and the Cardinals. I'll be totally honest with you. I see this as a game where the Jets could get hurt up a little bit in this matchup. The Cardinals, man, I'll tell you right now, if you don't keep Kyler Murray under check, if you do not keep him under wraps, you're going to have a long 60 minutes. You can ask Chicago. Chicago's got one of the best defenses in the NFL. And so this is a game where I think the Jets could be vulnerable. I don't know. I think it'll be a good game to watch, though. This is a good matchup. That's going to be 425. I'll say now, Sunday night football, we got the Lions going to Houston to take on the Texans. Another marquee battle. That's at 8:20 on NBC Peacock. Stu, your thoughts on this one?
That's gonna be good. That's gonna be a good one. Of course, Detroit's gonna be favored. They're playing the better ball right now. The Texans got to figure it out. They have a great coaching staff and D'Amico Ryans, great quarterback and company. As you mentioned, the offensive line is banged up. They need to find ways to protect him. They need to find ways to establish the run. They're gonna have to play bully ball. They're gonna have to get in their zone and try to out bully the bullies. Detroit Lions are the bullies that are coming in Texas, and the Texans are gonna have to figure out a way to out bully them. Don't let Debo snatch your chain, because that's what Detroit is coming in there to do. So I would favor Detroit, but I have some hope that the Texans may make it interesting, make it a game out of it.
Aaron Two-Toll-Moore, what do you think about this matchup? Houston and Detroit Sunday night.
I got the Lions winning this one. I got the Lions winning this one. I don't think. I just don't think the Texans got the talent to keep up with them. I think it's gonna be close in the first half, but I think the second half, the Lions gonna come out on top. Fourth quarter, I think this game gonna be over.
I think good teams, and I mean really good teams, expose Houston. Like Houston's a good team, but they're not a really good team because they have some deficiencies on that offensive line. I don't care if Nico Collins is out there or not, and Stephon Diggs. That young man doesn't have time to set up and throw. C.J. Stroud's been running for his life since the season began. And against a really good team like Detroit, you don't see things turning out in Houston's favor, although they will be at home. You never know. And then on Monday night at 8:15 on ESPN, you've got the Miami Dolphins traveling to SoFi Stadium to take on the Rams, who are starting to look like a dangerous team. The Los Angeles Rams. Don't think much of Miami. I don't think the Rams will have a problem winning this ball game. I think they are not only going to win this game, I think the Rams are creeping back into the playoff picture and a strong presence as the season. As long as they can keep Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua healthy, they're a problem. They're a real problem. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Well, with that, guys, we're going to step out of here. This has been a great show. And folks, if you came in on the tail end, you can listen to this show in its entirety on Spotify and where all major podcasts are heard. If you've enjoyed it, hey, like it and share it and subscribe to the Maurice Brown Comedy Channel as we are heard every Monday through Friday on bogradio.fm at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So with that, I'm going to get out of here. I pray the peace of Jesus Christ, everybody be with you and your families. And until next week. And I know that you might want to say a little bit more. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you the floor real quick and give me a prediction about your Commanders to finish this season off, Aaron.
One game at a time, Mo.
Okay. I thought I might be able to bait you into something.
I can give you one. I can give you one.
Okay.
So the Commanders are going to get a home playoff game. I'm not saying the number 1 seed, but they're going to get a home playoff game. Unfortunately, the Niners are coming to DC, and it's not going to end well for them.
I don't think you want that.
I want that.
I want that.
I want that. I want that. That's what I want.
Be careful what you ask for.
That's what I want. I want it.
All right. Well, I'll say this. The 49ers are not going away, and they are just as much a part of this Super Bowl talk as anybody else. The 49ers, like I said, give them to about week 9 or 10, and they get everybody back in place. That's going to be a team that you're not going to want to see. But anyway, great year for the Commanders. It's good to see the Commanders being a factor again. I mean, they were this close when they were the Redskins to being one of the greatest organizations in the history of the NFL, and the ship it just fell apart. So it's good to see them back in the mix. So we're out of here, guys. May the peace of Jesus Christ be with you and your families, guys. God bless.